What's up, guys? Um, Angelico Moridi here with my friend Giuseppe Krakowski.
Hey guys, what's going on? We have a couple of really awesome topics that we're going to be going over today, and we also have a couple of great beverages and naturally a couple of great cigars as well. I guess we're just going to dive right into it.
I'm pumped for this topic.
Yeah.
I have actually, I'm sure they're out there, not ever seen a video specifically about what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
What are we going to talk about next?
So we are going to talk about what makes a good fine dining experience. Not just like going to, Burger King, whatever. No, we're talking about a proper sit-down restaurant. What are the elements that goes into it?
Tell me the Whopper is not fine dining.
Sir, I'm terribly sorry to disappoint you, but the Whopper is not construed as a fine dining experience. Although there is that one Burger King in Manhattan where they have tableside service. I will say that is impressive.
Quite. Okay, on a quick side tangent, like the way these always happen. For like years, myself and two of my siblings, there's a particular Pizza Hut
Yeah.
that we went to like once, maybe twice. I don't even like Pizza Hut. But a sit down. It was like a sit down. Like,
Yeah.
I had not experienced that. I thought pizza chains. At that time, I in my mind thought pizza chains only were delivery.
Yep.
And generally speaking, and it was a nice sit down with like a waitress and stuff like that, as opposed to like a lot of even really good pizzerias typically are not like nice sit down restaurants. But anyway, so for years, we referred to this particular Pizza Hut. I think it might still exist. It's in like somewhere in New Jersey, Woodbridge, I think. As the fancy Pizza Hut.
It's the
fancy Pizza Hut. And we laugh about it. Oh, this is Pizza Hut, very fancy.
Nice.
It was extraordinary to my 10-year-old mind.
And to pair with today's first topic, we have a couple of different items here. First and foremost, we have a cigar by my father, and it's the Flor de las Antillas cigar. Looks like a light cigar and hopefully a long smoke, given the size of it here. So should be fun there. And we also have this bottle of wine, the Beringer Brothers Bourbon Barrel Aged Chardonnay. So 2016.
I'm kind of pumped. Look, Beringer, not a great reputation. Like they have a lot of really inexpensive wines or wines that are not.
Did not know that.
Yeah, as far as I know, I think this is the Beringer I'm thinking of. Has a bunch of wines that are considered to be less than amazing. But
it says right here they're the oldest continuously operating winery in the Napa Valley.
Yeah, but most of their bottles are sub $15. Not that there's anything wrong with that per se, and this one is in that category. But I am particularly excited for it because it's a bourbon barrel aged Chardonnay, and there's not a huge variety of bourbon barrel aged Chardonnays. The only one I've personally seen. I'm sure there's more.
Yep.
But
should be fun.
Yeah, I'm just looking for this interesting flavor profile, and I like the idea that I'm hoping it breaks the mold of this has happened 1,000,001 times, in the past so many years, that a relatively inexpensive bottle can be super.
Yep.
Super flavorful.
Definitely, for sure. And an interesting note about Chardonnays, you typically find two different styles of Chardonnay. There's Chardonnay that is aged in oak barrels, and then there's Chardonnay that is, not aged in oak barrels, usually concrete. It's typically aged in concrete at that point.
Concrete?
Concrete, yes. Concrete, they make like a container. There's a special term for it that I'm forgetting right now, but I'm not kidding.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they actually.
Are those considered to be lesser
No, not necessarily. So the reason why they choose to or not to age in barrels is because with the Chardonnay grape and the barrel aging, you get what is called malolactic fermentation. And the malolactic fermentation, that is what causes this toasted sort of sensation that you get with some Chardonnays. You can get popcorn. You can get this sort of element to the Chardonnays that you just don't get otherwise. Also, the fruit ends up being very tropical and like pineapple and mango and apricot and all of these wonderful flavors. Whereas when they're aged in concrete, it's much more reserved. You don't get any of that toast or that warmth. No, certainly no popcorn or anything like that, and no chance of smokiness whatsoever. And the fruits are more like peaches and pears and like it kind of more drawn in flavors, and you'll find that typically the old world wines are those that are they tend to be more drawn back. But in any event, that's the big thing about the Chardonnay's barrel aged versus not. So I'm gonna get this open here, and
do you have a personal preference?
Me personally, I like barrel aged Chardonnays. I like the whole idea of the malolactic fermentation. Personally. And, not every, obviously it's subjective. Not everybody likes that. I use my super fancy bottle opener here.
It's super fancy, but like really good.
Really, really fantastic. Like it just pulls the cork out every time, and no mess, no fuss. Really, really awesome. Cannot complain. Yeah. So got that. Ed's lighting the cigars. I'll pour the wine.
I love the smell of like the matches as they go out.
Yeah. It is really pleasant. Sometimes the little things in life are just, what makes it...
finer things.
Definitely.
Half a cent matches.
I want to say, there was a certain video that we did on Corona not so long ago, and we were talking about...
I actually don't know. With the upload schedule, it might have been like months ago.
Well,
when this comes out.
So at some point earlier, we did a video on Corona, and I was saying at that time how the color of Corona reminded me of a Chardonnay, and I'm gonna backtrack on that because this is much lighter than the Corona. Give me that matchbook when you're... It's really something.
The cigars.
Yes.
That's pretty pleasant.
It is.
Obviously, just the beginning of the smoke, so we'll see how it develops. But
oh yeah, definitely. Well, like last night, I smoked that Drew Estate Java, and that was much less sweet than this.
Yeah.
Much less sweet.
Yeah, it's funny for a flavored cigar.
Right. Also darker. This is definitely like visibly lighter. Mm-hmm. So.
The Drew Estate might be aged a little longer. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyhow. I am excited to get into
the topics, but we got to taste our.
Oh, the Chardonnay,
first.
Yeah. No, I'm thoroughly interested in the Chardonnay. I'm not really getting the barrel smell. A little bit, I guess, but it's super sweet. I mean, you definitely can smell the grape.
You can smell the sun. So like. Typically with wines that are made in southern more wine growing regions, they get more sunlight, and the grapes as a result are sweeter. They produce more sugar in the grapes compared to grapes located in more northern areas. And what ends up happening is because of the process of fermentation where yeast is eating the sugar, turning it into alcohol, when there's more sugar to eat, the yeast eats through it and creates more of an alcoholic flavor, and it results in a wine that ultimately ends up being sweeter.
I'm really curious how you're going to feel about that. Not the world's most complex.
there's not a whole lot.
Now, what I am wondering, it does develop a bit more as it sits there.
Yeah.
I got like nothing at first.
Yeah.
But
now as it's warming up, I wonder if maybe the wine just wasn't sitting out of the fridge long enough.
I also think that it just might not be standing up to the cigar. Because it takes a little bit of time, but I'm getting some flavor. But right on the palate, like initially, not a lot. Got that soured sweetness that you expect from Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Cigar's good.
Cigar's very tasty.
Cigar's good. So far with
you know how to pick them.
Yeah, thank you.
With the cigars, not with the wine.
yeah. No, look, man, this one just caught my eye because it was like interesting. But
no, that's fair. And you were looking for a white wine that, we should probably preface this whole thing. We went into the liquor store and Ahmed had this idea of a white wine.
Well, look, I had a white wine in Seoul at like this outstanding restaurant, Jungshik. If you're in Seoul, if you're visiting, there's actually a New York City location as well, which is not the same, but it's very similar. Same owner, different chef though, or no, the chef might actually. It's the same chef owner. I mean, I don't know who the chef operating. Obviously, it's not the same chef operating both kitchens.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Different parts of the world. But anyway, I had their prefix menu, and one of the wine pairings with the prefix menu was it was a smoked abalone. I don't remember the name of that fish. How to pronounce that, but it was a white wine with it, and they purposely had paired a smoky white, which is unusual.
It is.
With the smoky fish, and it was outstanding.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was my favorite white wine I've ever had. I've called the New York City and the Korea location of Jungshik, trying to get a hold of somebody. And they just, I don't know, they gave me a bit of the runaround. It's kind of upsetting. Like, the Korea location I understand, because, like, sure, they have folks there that speak English, but it's also, like, odd hours. I've only called them once. But the New York City location, I've called, like, 3 times. And they're like, we'll get back to you. And they haven't. It's annoying. And so I've just been, like, on this wild goose chase for this smoky white wine. And I've tried a few, and it's certainly not the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough when you have something that's truly exceptional and you go to try and find it again. And honestly, that's why I've been in the habit
photographs of it.
I take photographs of everything.
And they brought the bottle to the table, to like show us and
Yep.
stuff like that. Even though obviously it was one glass, not a bottle.
Right.
But yeah, man. If any of you know what smoky white wine was on the menu in September at Jungshik in Seoul.
There will be a prize.
Give you a high five. Email your personal video.
Yep.
Unexplicit one.
Yes.
Unexplicit. But I don't have a premium Snapchat.
That's all right. We'll get you there. We'll get you there, buddy. No worries.
I hope one day. If this doesn't take off.
Yeah, that's it. Premium Snapchat.
Premium Snapchat. Yeah, me and every other rural girl.
Oh my goodness. Yep. That's.
Hey, you do.
It's a great way to describe yourself as a rural girl.
Rural, honestly, yeah. But okay.
Yes.
Speaking of Jungshik, that's kind of funny. It leads into.
It really does. So our topic again at hand today, after our ramblings here. What makes a good fine dining experience? And we kind of, we were kind of brainstorming, about this, and we kind of just took down some random scribblings here. So
I'm sorry. Sting's album, like the newer album, My Songs.
Yeah.
So sure, it's like it's his songs, and he can do whatever he wants. So that's the idea, right?
Yeah.
I think when we're older, and we've really already said every single thing there is to say about the finer things, we should rebrand. Our channel as Our Ramblings.
Because we do whatever we want.
Yeah. We just say whatever we want. Doesn't matter if it's correct or coherent even. It's our ramblings, and then we can say whatever we want about them.
That's it.
That's the nature of the show.
It's our party. We can cry if we want to. I don't want to.
About that wine I kind of do. But I paid for it. I'm drinking it.
Yeah. I'm definitely going through this whole bottle. It's drinkable. It's tasty enough.
Look, I'm being kind of a dick. It's not bad.
No.
It's just not exceptional. I was expecting more. Berenger really did live up to their name, though.
Oh, that's fair. This cigar is like, the outer wrapping's kind of like falling apart a little bit.
It cut weird. When
When
I was cutting it, like at the end, crumbled a little. I don't know why. Mine came perfectly.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, so what makes a good fine dining experience? So again, this is in no particular order, but
just kind of like subcategories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll start with the big one that we both kind of thought of at the same time was not having salt or pepper at the table.
I talk about this 1,000,001 times with my girlfriend. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
Not so much. I mean, yeah, I agree. This definitely belongs on this list. But I actually think it's also a good indicator of whether or not it's just going to be a good restaurant.
In general, yeah.
And it's not mutually exclusive. It's not like if you have salt and pepper on the table, it's automatically going to be a bad restaurant. In terms of the quality of the food, anyway. But I do think that there is a correlation between not having the salt and pepper on the table and being a really good restaurant.
Yeah, that's fair.
Frankly, if you're going to have confidence in your food,
yeah.
It better, if it's good food, you're going to have confidence in it. And if you have confidence in it, you're probably not going to think people need to season it.
That is definitely a good way of going about it. So yeah, not having salt or pepper on the table, that's a good one. Ambience, as they say. That's definitely part of the fine dining experience, right? If it weren't for ambiance, you could just make food at home. At the end of the day, if it weren't for ambiance, if it didn't matter, then why don't you just have food service at home, just in the comfort of your own home? No, it's not the idea of that, right? The idea is to be transported into this otherworldly, like, wow, this is a really special place that I'm about to have a very special meal. Like it's awesome.
The fundamental difference between just like good food and fine dining, in my experience, or at least in my opinion, has a huge part to do with ambiance.
Definitely.
And because you could have unbelievable food.
Yeah.
But it's not a fine dining experience.
Yep. That is true.
And many of these things.
Plenty of holes in the wall that I've been to that have awesome food, and I go there all the time. Yep. But at the same time, is not fine dining experience. Mm-hmm. Not in any sense. And a lot of fine dining restaurants, they have a dress code. Yeah. Right. So that's another one on our list here. Is a dress code, right? So not necessarily to say, oh well, you can only wear jackets and
black tie only.
Yeah, black tie event, blah blah blah. No, certainly not. But not like your average street clothes either. Like you have to look presentable. In order to be at some of these fine dining establishments, and again, it kind of is part of the ambiance, really.
The big one for me is no hoodies, no open-toed shoes, no jeans, no t-shirts, no hats.
Yeah, especially the hats. My God.
Jeans are sometimes, I think, permissible.
Yeah.
but
if they're nice enough, if they're not like rips,
I think because that's a style though.
Yeah.
I would say I think it also depends on the type of the establishment. However, what I would say is t-shirts, hats, hoodies, sandals, stuff like that.
Yep.
That's not. It's funny. There's like this scene from the Sopranos where there's this like Tony Soprano, obviously the main character, and there's another like boss. He's like one of the bosses of the 5 families in New York City. Carmine Lupertazzi. Gosh, not to really ramble here, but the really interesting thing is if you've seen the movie The Green Book, awesome movie. The main character of that movie, or at least the person that's being portrayed, because it's based on a true story. The Green Book is the actor who plays Carmine Lupertazzi in The Sopranos. Huh. Which is like it's super funny.
Oh, that's entertaining.
Yeah. Anyhow, so this guy's kind of losing his mind. He's getting old. This guy who's like the boss Carmine in the show Sopranos, and he just walks up to Tony in an episode, and Tony's wearing shorts at like a barbecue, and he's like, "Dons don't wear shorts," and he's just like, "What?" And he's basically just like berating Tony about how
he dresses.
Yeah, and I
That's
agree.
funny.
No, whatever. Dons don't wear shorts. I don't care what Dons do. But what I do care.
One day, Ahmed.
Yeah, one day.
You can only aspire.
But no, but
guys, if this YouTube video series doesn't work out for us, Ahmed is going to be a Don.
I'm only half Italian. I can't actually.
They don't need to know that.
Yeah, I'm Sicilian. That's what it is. Yeah. I'm not.
That's how that works.
Anyway, though, I do agree. I think dress code, like, not at having a dress code or letting people in who are not adhering to dress code, that's my bigger pet peeve. If you have a dress code and you're not enforcing it, shame on you.
That's pretty bad.
I hate it. Like, this is a good example of a restaurant I love, Mezzaluna in Fargo, North Dakota. Great place, awesome food, rotating menu, awesome wait staff. Never had a bad wait staff member there, and I've been there like 6 times now. And they don't have dress code.
Yeah.
So I dress up when I go there because I respect the place.
Yeah.
As does my girlfriend.
Then you got farmers going there too, huh?
Not quite farmers, but you do just have random dudes in like a t-shirt. Jungshik, a 2 Michelin star restaurant. 3 being the most for the uninitiated. In Seoul, not an inexpensive place to eat whatsoever. Now, this is a symptom of like the ultra wealthy, I do think, and that's some of the people there were like that.
Yeah.
But there were tables of people wearing sweatpants. Because to them, I guess they're just so wealthy. It's just like it really isn't.
Right.
It's not even like really fine dining to them in their mind.
Yep.
Because like they probably only eat fine dining. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I would never allow it. I would never. Yeah. I'd rather not have a restaurant that I position to be a fine dining establishment than rather not even have one than have one and let people wear sweatpants to my restaurant. I can't.
That's fair. So another one we have here is knowledgeable and opinionated wait staff.
So important.
It really is. So obviously it's very, very important for the wait staff to be able to tell you the specials, for example, and preferably to tell you them without having to look at their piece of paper and just read them off. Like I find that to be a little ridiculous. Experience. Yeah. I find some of them my best dining experiences. Not only will the wait staff be able to tell you the specials, but they tell you in such an engaging way, and they make the specials just sound like, oh my goodness, that is delicious.
Well,
like the way that they describe it. Oh my goodness, yes.
And that's where
they're very good at sales.
Comes in.
Yes. And being able to ask the wait staff, oh well, what do you think of this dish, so on and so forth, and having the wait staff be able to give an answer as opposed to, oh, I don't know.
Look, like, I also understand that like no waiter is going to be like, you're not going to be like, oh well, how's the ossobuco, and they're going to be like, oh, it sucks. Obviously, that's not going to be a thing. What I would say is though, I do take issue with members of wait staff that every single item they're like, oh, that's amazing, this is amazing, I love that, that's my favorite dish.
Yep.
And then even worse than that is like, how do you think that'll pair with this cocktail? How do you think that'll pair with this wine? And every single option you pick out, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's literally the best.
Yeah.
And obviously all of them cannot be the best, so that's disingenuous.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, definitely having knowledgeable and opinionated wait staff is important, and then kind of one part of that umbrella, if you will, is restaurants that have a sommelier on staff. So a sommelier, for those who don't know, is essentially an expert in tasting in a particular field. Usually it's wine, but there are sommeliers in other categories as well. And usually in restaurants it'll be a wine sommelier that'll be able to recommend a perfect pairing for the dish that you're looking to get. It's a really fantastic experience for those who haven't done it before. It's a lot of fun to be able to say, hey, I'm thinking about having this dish and this dish, so on and so forth, and have the sommelier be like, all right, here's the perfect pairing for you.
It's just a matter of like having access to a subject matter expert. Like whether it's at a cigar bar or a restaurant or a liquor store or a chocolate shop or a cosmetic store or a car dealer, I love being able to interact with a real subject matter expert. because it's like, oh, you know so much more than me about this thing. You're gonna give me like real, like earned insight to something.
Yeah.
And I think that's special. It's not like a necessity, obviously, for a nice restaurant to have a sommelier on staff.
No.
Because it's expensive.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I think it does elevate a lot of experiences. Or it can.
It certainly can,
Yeah.
without a doubt. So another one on here, signature cocktails. A restaurant that goes out of their way to have cocktails that are unique to them. And I've seen this in bars as well, where they make their own drinks, and I think that's fantastic. But restaurants do it too, and a lot of very nice restaurants have absolutely fabulous mixed drinks that will go perfect with some of their dishes as well. Really, really great pairings. But really, that's just another item where it's like, okay, well, that's a sign of a truly fine dining establishment.
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I really think it's one of those things, again, not a necessity. Obviously, most of these things are not a necessity. It's just kind of like things that we love to see. But the reality is, I think it says something special about a restaurant specifically, that they've gone out of their way to work with a mixologist or just hire phenomenal bartenders, and to basically map out, architect, design some cocktails from the ground up, and taking it to the next level. Places that have a rotating menu of signature cocktails. That is amazing.
A menu of cocktails that rotates with their rotating menu.
Yeah. I love that.
And I think that might even be somewhere on here, on our list here.
Rotating menu, I think, is one of the things later. But...
actually, that is actually the very next
one. Oh, that is the very cool.
It's literally the very next
perfect.
one.
Yeah,
so
that's well.
That's perfect.
Honestly, this is probably how the logical progression went when we had
a lot of fine dining restaurants, their ingredients are so fresh that they are very dependent on the seasons, because some ingredients are in season, some ingredients are not, and as a result, they have a rotating menu. Or other times, restaurants will have a rotating menu to best match the theme of the particular season. For fall, they'll have like the butternut squash, and they'll have certain fall like ingredients with the gourds and squash and stuff like that.
Of course.
Whereas in the springtime, the summertime, they might have something that's more green focused, more fruit focused, so on and so forth. That's really enjoyable to be able to go to a restaurant different times of the year, and just be able to have different experiences.
100%. Yeah,
I think that's really great.
Well, it keeps a restaurant fresh.
Yeah.
But not only does it keep a restaurant fresh, it really does. You look forward to going to that place.
Oh, definitely.
And on top of it, again, it really says something about the passion of the chef.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. I think a good sort of like example. You do stand-up comedy and all. I don't. But my point is, years ago there were stand-up comedians that had like an hour of material that they performed for 10 years. That's not a thing at all anymore.
No.
What is a thing is comedians who write a new hour basically every year, some of them more frequently than that, and it just shows a level of expertise, and really you kind of get better and better.
Yeah.
You're going to grow as a chef, you're going to grow as a restaurant into everything blossoms,
Yeah.
It's
more experience with more dishes.
Exactly.
To be able to learn from techniques with one dish versus another, how things pair, definitely helps a restaurant grow.
And it separates you from Joe Schmo's Diner.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Okay, so after rotating menu, transparent about ingredient sourcing. So that's definitely a big one. You see a lot of these restaurants that are like farm to table restaurants, and they say, hey, you know what? We got our cheese from Mike's Cheese Shop, right down the road, or this particular dairy farm, that's about 5 miles away. And we got our beef from this particular farm, so on and so forth. I think that's really great.
I like those stories of X, Y, or Z restaurant that we send someone out at 4:00 in the morning to the bakery to get like this particular type of bread, and we have a dude that shows up at the fish market at 5 a.m. To like cut deals with the fishermen,
with the fishmongers.
Yeah. That's the right word.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's character. Again, dude, are some of these things foofy and not directly related? Look, it's food on a plate. Yeah, but that's, again, our definition of fine dining.
Of the fine dining experience.
It's
right. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and we've got a nice list going here. The next one, a known chef, known as in famous possibly,
or just presented.
You're right, exactly. Maybe on the menu somewhere it says, "Hey, this menu is curated by Chef so and so," right? Again, it's if someone is proud enough to put their name on the menu, then it's got to be a damn good menu. It really does. And most of the time that is the case. I find that, if I look at a menu and it's got the name of the chef on there, that's great. I can give an example. One of the restaurants that I frequent, well, as much as I can afford, Provence. And they have a menu, and at the bottom of the menu it says, "Hey, this menu curated by Chef Michael Cunningham," and the guy, and he comes out every once in a while to greet people and ask how their meal is going, and so on and so forth.
Chef Yono.
Oh yeah, Chef Yono. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, Yonos! Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. What an experience! Oh man, can we get that 11-course grand tasting menu? Come on.
Yeah. No, we definitely have to go back soon. But what's up next?
High quality restrooms. That's an important one because obviously they're serving food, and at some point in time you're probably going to have to go potty.
Yeah, you're at a nice restaurant for usually 2 hours at least.
Right, and if the bathroom can't match the ambiance of the restaurant itself, then I feel that's a bit of a problem. I feel like the experience should be premium through and through.
To me, it becomes a question of why did you stop trying? Is it a big, hugely important aspect of fine dining to have a nice bathroom? Not really, but you put effort into the lighting, you put effort into the tables, the silverware, you hired great staff, you put together a great menu, you put together great cocktails, you have great
music.
wine, you have great music. Well, I think that's up next, maybe. It's somewhere there.
Somewhere there.
You did all these things. Why? Because you care about your customer's experience. But then you just stopped at the restroom. Something that's integral to having a restaurant is having a restroom. Fine dining restaurant anyway.
Yeah.
Instead of fine dining restroom, I don't want
a fine dining restroom.
Fine dining restroom.
Yep, that's up next.
Yeah.
We will serve you toilet side.
Bathroom to table.
Yeah, that bathroom to table.
Yeah, it's got it in the wrong order.
Oh my goodness!
But realistically,
but definitely having high quality restroom.
Having a restroom attendant.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It feels so pampering.
Yep.
It's like, I finished my poop and this guy is like, "Oh, you want a warm, sanitized towel? Oh, you want to spritz a cologne because you want to smell real nice when you go back out to your date or whomever."
Yeah.
I love that. It's so they're always the nicest people.
Oh,
too.
Absolutely. They totally are.
Yeah. It's honestly, again, not a big deal, but something that I just like to see.
Definitely. Next up, great plate presentation. So again, you care enough to go out of your way to get these super fresh ingredients. You go out of your way to, make sure that they're cooked perfectly and that you have all the right pairings and so on and so forth. And you make this great restaurant.
Dump them on a plate.
And to just put them on a plate like that. No. Obviously, you're not going to do that. You're going to make it look pretty. You're going to make it look attractive because that makes it even more appetizing to the person about to eat it. Right, that's part of the experience is to
100%.
have these amazing presentations.
It comes out and you look at it and you just go, "Wow!"
Yeah.
I'm so happy I took my time out. I'm so happy that I'm willing and able to spend a bit more money than a standard restaurant.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if a standard restaurant's real good, because I that day, that night, that whatever, whether it's a holiday or an anniversary or whatever. I just wanted to be treated well. I wanted to feel like I'm having an elevated experience.
Absolutely.
And this is one I think maybe was like neglected years ago, but like I feel like you go into a random diner or something now and they're putting together like a pretty looking plate for you.
Yep. For sure.
But it is still important.
Absolutely. So yeah, the next one on the list, prefix option with wine pairing. So a lot of the finest restaurants, they will have prefix option, which means that it's a single price that you pay for a multiple course meal, where they'll typically have at the very least an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert all kind of lined up.
Usually more.
Right, usually more. And there will also be the matching wine pairings to go with it to say, hey, we've engineered this dish to go perfect with this particular wine, right? So that's definitely a big one there. It doesn't necessarily have to be the only thing that restaurant offers. You can have a lot of a la carte, but having that prefix option, again, another indicator of a truly fine dining establishment.
It's a convenience factor, but it's also just cool that you get to try a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
A restaurant gets to prove to you that, we don't just have like one or two good items. No, we have an unbelievable menu. We want you to taste it all. And we've taken the time and effort to pick 3, 4, 5, 6 different beverages, whether they're wine or coffee or a cocktail. We've taken the time, we've taken the effort, and you're going to enjoy this.
Absolutely. So the next one up is great spirits selection, and that I suppose is well, for me it's an obvious one for someone who imbibes and really very.
Sin.
Very enjoyable beverages. Thank you very much. Are you ready to give up your life of sin?
Never.
I didn't think so. So yeah, having more than just like Smirnoff vodka or Chivas Regal whiskey, or like
Chivas is the best selling Scotch in the world.
Not surprised given the number of bars that I see with it. Really, I'm not surprised. But obviously there's better out there, right? And you'll see restaurants that have like an incredibly small selection of beverages, and most of the time the small selection is just disappointing. Like now there are exceptions. There are restaurants where they have a very closely catered selection of beverages, where it's like, you know what, we got rid of all the rest of these because we only want to carry these particular esoteric beverages. And okay, fine. That's more of an exception to the rule, right? But generally speaking, having a big, wide selection of beverages, in a restaurant gives you a book and says, you know what? Here's your wine selection. Like, that's freaking out of this world amazing.
I love it.
It's absolutely fantastic. And then there are some restaurants that take it a step further and it's like, yeah, here's our regular book, and here's the reserve
special book.
Here's the special book if you really want to make this event special 100%. For you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and going back to like what the heck were we talking about when I said that? Plate presentation.
Yeah.
Everybody does that now. Not everybody does the spirit and wine selection.
That's
wine
true.
selection is definitely more popular. I don't understand why a lot of awesome restaurants end up with like this really subpar,
mediocre.
Yeah, like we have Walker Blue. I don't know, like a vodka, like
one vodka.
Yeah, like a rum, like.
Yep.
Sometimes you literally see like maybe 5 spirits, and like
it's like
the
beverages.
Really coolest one is like Walker Black. And
yeah,
it's like, okay, sure, this is fine. Like I'll have Walker Black as as a sort of dessert like type pairing.
Sure. But come on, have some grappa, have some
port.
Armagnac, port.
Yeah,
absolutely, and something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
there's something more enjoyable. I don't know. But yeah, so having a great spirit selection definitely important. Moving on, restaurants that go the extra mile, right? They make accommodations. They go out of their way to make sure that their guests have an absolutely fabulous experience.
The Yono story, yeah, you do. No, wasn't that what you said?
Well, yeah. So Yonos is really like they go the extra mile to get to know their clients and to try and make special events as special as possible. I took a significant other at the time to Yonos, and we had a ball. And I had told the wait staff ahead of time, what the purpose of the occasion was for, and they actually went out of their way to make a special dish. Just for us. It was an anniversary, and it wasn't part of the tasting menu or anything, but they just threw it in and said, "Hey, here you go. This is on us. Enjoy."
Smell that real quick. I'm getting just big fresh vanilla bean.
Yeah. The vanilla bean is definitely there,
but I wasn't getting it so.
It's surprisingly light. Considering this is a bourbon barrel aged Chardonnay, it's surprisingly light. And
but it smells so fresh.
It does. It smells incredibly fresh. Actually, I think it smells fresher now than it did before.
That's what I'm getting at.
It's interesting how the cigar does that.
I haven't sipped it in a few minutes, and I just did, and I was like, "Wow, that's a lot tastier." Some good legs on it.
Oh, definitely. And being from California, it's typically going to be higher in alcohol content. Let's see if I can find what the ABV is here. Yeah, it's 14.5% alcohol by volume. And not exactly low.
That's
for
definitely
sure.
not weak.
No.
I am again hearing that surprised that it's not a little more in my face flavor wise.
Yeah. There was a Chardonnay that I had by an outfit called Gordon Brothers, and they were out of Oregon, I want to say, or maybe Columbia Valley, Washington, one of the more northern northwestern states there, and it was just like buttery toast and you got a hint of smoke and you got these tropical fruits you got pineapple, you got apricot, you got all of these lovely fruits, and it was very in your face, amazing, just really awesome. So anyway, moving on our list here.
What was up next?
Nicely designed but understated menu. You go to a Chinese restaurant, for example, your run-of-the-mill Chinese restaurant. What do they have?
65 items.
65 items and photos of all of the items, and they're usually terrible photos too.
Yeah. Printed in 2 colors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And most restaurants that are like that take photos of their food, usually not the best, not the best anyway, and certainly
come on, man.
It's certainly not indicative.
You don't consider Applebee's fine dining? What kind of a hooligan are you?
You take me for some kind of deviant.
I take you for a sinner. But
definitely part of it, though. A majority of the fine dining establishments that I've been to, the menu is usually just a nice font, but just printed text of exactly what it is that they'll be offering, and really not much more than that, and that's really all it needs to be, right? It doesn't have to be anything fancy and spectacular, because that is what their food is for.
Yeah, no, I really do agree very much. Again, is this nitpicky? Yep. But that's what we're doing. We're literally saying, these are the things we like to see. These are the nitpicks we've kind of got.
Yeah. Pretty sure this is the Finer Things podcast anyway, so just saying, we might have higher standards than the average Joe Schmo, unapologetically.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, because
no doubt,
if you're gonna present yourself as a fine dining establishment, hey man, you better be trying. You really better be.
Yeah.
Because I think you're worthless if you're not.
Yeah. That is true.
Even if you're doing some things really well.
Oh yeah.
Don't try to seem like a fine dining establishment. Just be one.
That's it.
Just be one, and do the things that it takes to be one.
Definitely. Next on the list, management touches base with clients, right? I think that's a big one. It doesn't necessarily have to be the chef, but some member of management who is not your direct waiter. I think it's really important that they come by and say, "Hey, how's everything going this
100%.
evening?" I think that's really important, just so that if there's feedback that needs to be given, like that's a great opportunity for that to happen. And not every restaurant does that, and it's really too bad.
It's a way for the restaurant to grow. But not only that. It's a way to make you feel special. It's like you. Oh, I feel like I'm being taken care of. I feel like my experience matters to these people.
Absolutely.
And again, I love that. I really love interacting, and honestly, a lot of times, like if you're in a supervisor or like upper management at a fine dining establishment, tend to be really interesting, really nice person.
Yeah.
Like I've had nothing but like great conversations with members of management at really nice restaurants.
Absolutely. All right, so moving on. Live music or a very high quality music playback system. Some of the best restaurants that I've ever been to, it's live music that they're playing, right?
Yeah, and that's
they'll hire a band and
that is the best.
Yeah, that's truly the best. But if you can't have that, at the very least, have music that first of all fits the mood that you're looking to present, and secondly, have a system that's high quality enough that you can present it in a premium way.
Sometimes space constraints, you can't have live music. Or sometimes you can't afford it on a Wednesday night.
Sure, totally understandable. And at that point, it's just a matter of making sure that the music is adding to the overall ambiance, the overall mood of the restaurant, and it's not being intrusive. Because there have been restaurants where I've gone to where just like the music does not match the mood.
Yeah. The radio.
So like I went to it was just a restaurant in the mall, but it was a ramen Korean barbecue restaurant, and I've been there twice so far. One time they were playing like Baroque classical music, like totally unbefitting of the mood of the restaurant, like not Asian in the slightest.
Sure.
And then another time they were playing pop music, like modern pop music.
All over the map.
And but it was like, the one time I was there for probably an hour, and all I heard was Baroque. The next time I was there for probably about the same period of time, all I heard was pop. And there were no commercials or anything. It wasn't like they were changing radio stations. So like they're paying something to be able to play this music, and it's like, are you kidding me?
I went to a Pakistani or Indian, maybe it was, restaurant once. Gosh, don't remember where. Somewhere near Albany, I think. Albany, New York, that is. And
Georgia.
Yeah.
Albany, Georgia.
And it was like obnoxious, but hilarious because they had like this super lo-fi, like in-ceiling, contractor special type system.
Yep.
With like 20 seconds of a song on loop.
Oh my goodness.
I was there for like an hour.
Oh no.
And it was just like 20 seconds of a song from like a Bollywood movie.
So you heard that like 100 times.
Yeah, about. Yeah, it's literally
oh my goodness.
And like I said,
I'm sure after the first few times it was fun and everything, but then it just got to the point where it was like,
Well, it got to the point where I was losing my fucking mind because I was actually thinking, am I the crazy one who's like imagining that this is the same song this whole time?
Yeah.
And I'm like recording it and sending it to a friend, and I'm like, hey man, am I losing it? Like, I don't. Yeah, man. Like that's the antithesis
that's crazy.
Of what not to do.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So here's another one on our list: cutlery choice. And now this is again, probably one of those small nitpicky sort of things. But like when we went to Yono's, for example, there was not only was the silverware, the flatware, I should say, it was very nice, very very stylish, very substantial. It was it had a heft, it had a weight, it had a quality to it. You pick it up, it's like, wow, this is a quality piece right here.
100%.
But for any of the meat based dishes, they brought out this knife that had a bone handle, and it was a full tang, and there was like a little fly or something on the little metal it was just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I want to pick up a set of those. I really do.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's $500.
Oh
for
yeah,
four or something
I'm
like
sure
that.
they are, but they were so
They
nice.
were, yeah,
They were so nice, and they cut right.
Yep,
through.
and that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's like the actual like application of it. The utility of it being like actually like a really good knife. I love that. And again, it's is this one of those things that doesn't really matter? Kind of, but.
Kind of does.
But when you aren't, look, here's what I would say. I never think about it when it doesn't happen, as long as it's not like trash flatware.
Right.
But on the flip side, when you do experience it and you pick it up and it's weighty and beautiful and it cuts great, it's like, again, it's one of those things. I'm happy I'm here.
At the end of the day, everybody eats usually 3 times a day, right? That's the norm,
Sure.
right? So 3 times a day, you're picking up silverware, flatware, what have you, to eat your food. So everybody has a good idea of what the average fork feels like, what the average spoon feels like, what the average knife feels like. And when you experience something that just transcends that, just like goes way beyond, like, and can sometimes be like mind-blowing, where it's just like, I didn't even know stuff like this could exist. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, holy cow, that's absolutely incredible. So that's a really big one. Getting toward the end of our list here, high quality coffee. I think that's really important.
Incredible.
It's oh my goodness, because what is the best thing to have after just a fabulous meal that you just had? It is just like is a really nice cup of coffee, right?
110%. I really couldn't agree more with that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the reason this was so hot on my mind, when we were talking about sort of this list, oh my God, so many good, really good restaurants have like D tier coffee, whether it's the espresso or just the regular coffee. It's a pet peeve of mine. Not that it really is super important.
Yep.
I sometimes like, in the like old Italian man sort of style, a small, like a sliver of lemon peel. Yep.
Yes.
That I can just twist the peel, drop it in. It brings out some nice acidity and like floral notes, and citrus of the espresso.
Absolutely.
Super enjoyable, and it's a great like aperitif, sort of like end of the digestif. A digestif. Yeah. My bad.
No, it's all good. No, I'm totally on board with that.
And clarify that.
Yep.
What is my pet peeve is that like so many times people straight up don't understand it, which is like, hey, we're gonna fine dining establishment. Like,
you should know.
You should familiarize yourself with the possibilities,
especially when it's an Italian restaurant.
100%. Yeah.
Like that's just like, are you kidding me?
Dude, like, obviously the scope of my understanding is limited to like my Italian family, but I'm talking about like 50 plus people I know that either drink it themselves or are really familiar with it. In my family, everybody knows that that's a thing you do. Whether it's my family, Italian family in America, or my Italian family from Italy, they're aware of it, and most people I know that are familiar with Italian culture do that or are aware of it. So my point is, not necessarily do you have to be aware with it. Whatever, things are going to happen, especially if you're from a part of the country maybe where you, even if you work in an Italian restaurant, maybe you're not terribly familiar with Italian people. You haven't met like a ton of them.
Yeah.
There are parts of the country without Italians, believe it or not. Without a lot of them, anyway.
That's tough to believe.
But, being here on the East Coast, it's like Italian Central. But anyway, I give clear direction when I'm talking, every time I mention it or ask for it, I give clear direction because I understand for some people it's a little outlandish.
Sure.
And some people know right away, and some people don't. But oh my god, every time people, a member of waitstaff isn't familiar, they bring me a lemon wedge.
Yep.
They bring me a lemon every time, and I'm like, I literally say, I want a small piece of lemon peel.
Lemon peel.
A small. You want to bring me a big piece of lemon peel? Fine, but like, do I really have to sit here and? I don't know. I'm going off about this.
No.
But it's annoying.
It's understandable. A restaurant I went to recently, Grappa 72. When they serve their espresso, they serve it with lemon peel.
There you go.
And it's by default. I didn't even ask for it that way, but that's it came on the side. I had the option to use it or not use it. And they were smart enough. Their espresso was already had that sort of acidity that would go perfect with the lemon peel. Like they engineered it perfectly.
And does it not elevate your perception of the restaurant?
Oh, absolutely, it does. Absolutely. Everything about that restaurant, oh my goodness, was just really.
But particular complaint I have about that restaurant.
What do you have?
They don't have a big spirit selection.
They
have
don't.
grappa.
Their grappa selection is fantastic.
But their other spirits cocktails, their bartender, I asked.
I guess I never really ordered the cocktails. I was obsessed with the wine selection because they had a very a very appropriate wine selection. And then what I was interested in as a digestif was the grappa.
Yeah, and I tried one. They have 10 or 15. They have a bunch
something
of
like that. Yeah, it was a nice selection.
But I asked for a daiquiri, and they hit me with, we don't have a blender.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, oh, okay, forget it. No.
Yep.
I actually, the thing was, I actually first asked for a Negroni.
Yep.
And they were like, a what? And I was like, okay, well, do you have the ingredients? And they were like, no.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know. Again, doesn't mean it's a bad restaurant. Absolutely not. It's a really good restaurant.
Their food is fantastic.
Enjoyed the food.
Yeah.
I did get coffee there, and I didn't actually recall that specifically, but I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
It was definitely definitely a good experience, but it was one of those nitpicks.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do.
Yes, it certainly is. So here's another one that for me is a pet peeve of mine is the waitstaff paying attention to the level of your water glass.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of just
giant.
If you don't do it, you're not a good. You're not a good waiter.
Yeah. At the end of the day, as lovely as wine is, as lovely as your cocktail is, water is life, right?
Really?
Yes, really. Water is life.
Literally.
Literally, it is, right?
Yeah.
You use it to cleanse your palate between one dish and another, for example. Maybe you're eating food and it's like, okay, time for some water, and you go to have some water and it's like, oh, I'm empty. How did that happen?
Yep.
Obviously, it's because you drank through it, but the point is, you should never see the bottom of this glass if you are being served.
Yep.
Right? I think that's really important.
100%. Yeah. Like I think that's flat out, like, to me it instantly means you're inattentive.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're inattentive, well, you're not a good waiter or waitress, whatever. It's so integral to a positive experience.
Oh, it certainly is.
Is that the end of the list? Oh, okay. What is up next, my man? Oh, inhale a little bit of like the fire. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it happens from time to time.
No, it sure does.
We are making a mess.
That's all right.
Yeah, obviously.
Yep, I'm good. So, the thing about waitstaff, I feel like in order to attract the best talent, waitstaff, they got to be paid well. Oh, I feel that applies in almost any employment category, but like the best in their particular field, whether it's a waiter, whether it's a chef, whether it is a maitre d', whether it is the bathroom attendant, right? They all have to get paid relatively well in order to truly be good at their job.
Here's the thing,
you know,
you
like
gotta be paid well to want to be there, and if they're going to want to be there, they have to be compensated well.
Yes, that's exactly it. To be enthusiastic, to be happy to go to work every single day and do your job day in and day out.
If you work at a fine dining establishment and you're not proud of it, either you're not being compensated well, you're not being treated correctly.
Yep.
The restaurant maybe isn't as fine as it thinks it is.
Yep.
Or you're in the wrong industry, whatever. Get a different job, I suppose. But yeah, if you're at a really nice restaurant that is a proper fine dining establishment and you're not happy,
Yep.
Well, something's really wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a huge part of it. And honestly, you could have done everything that we talked about correctly. You're not treating the people that work for you well.
Yep.
You should treat your good employees. If you're a fine dining establishment, that should mean all employees.
Absolutely.
If you're not treating your employees with respect, and if you're treating them with respect, it means you're compensating them well. You're not a good restaurant. It's not a good fine dining establishment if you don't care about the well-being of the people that work for it. I think that's true for any business, really.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you should be treating your employees like they're indispensable, because if you've selected the correct people, and if you're a fine dining establishment, you better have.
Oh yeah.
They should be indispensable to you. It should feel like a blow if they want to leave.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you're going to be proud of them and happy if they move on to something bigger and better and whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
Or whatever they want to be.
Sure.
But for the time that they're employed by you,
yeah.
They should be treated damn well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you should care about their development, obviously. You know, the whole point is to, make your restaurant better than it ever has been. And in order to do that, your entire staff has to be brought to a level that perhaps they weren't when they first started working.
You could be the best chef in history without the right team.
Yeah, forget it.
Kind of irrelevant.
Done.
Yeah.
The last thing that's really on the list here, and I think we've gone through everything else, is timing. And what I mean by timing is the timing between one plate and the next. You ever sit down? You're sat relatively quickly, but then the waiter takes forever to get to you, or maybe the waiter gets to you immediately, but then it's like 15 minutes before you see a drink.
Or the worst thing, honestly, than that, waiting sucks. But to me, it's like, you get your drink right away, you got your water or whatever.
Yep.
You place your order in the same instance for an appetizer and an entree.
Yep.
And then you get your soup or your appetizer, whatever, way too close together.
Yep.
Where it's like, I've taken 3 bites of my appetizer and my entrees here.
Yep.
It's
for
like,
sure.
Oh, well,
and
one of these is going to get cold now.
Yeah, definitely. And the best restaurants will pay attention to that, because it's not a matter necessarily of getting the food out as quickly as possible, right? It's really more a matter of, okay, we've served this guy's appetizer, let's pay attention to how it's being consumed. Okay, looks like he's almost done, so let's put the finishing touches on his entree, and when he's done with his appetizer, maybe a couple of minutes or whatever timing is deemed appropriate, then bring out the entree. And so on and so forth. I think that's really important. And then after the entree, rolling into dessert, I think there's an appropriate amount of time 100%. That when you're done with the entree, the plate's taken away, they brush off the table, so on and so forth. I think that's another nice touch as well that we didn't even touch on.
Just time to sit and talk.
Absolutely. While you kind of digest the food,
yeah.
Right. Exactly. And then the wait staff comes around and they say, oh, how about a dessert?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
It's an art.
It certainly is. It certainly is, and it takes a lot of practice. Certainly, not that I'm a subject matter expert in, but I've been to enough restaurants to know that that sort of timing exists, and that not everybody can do it perfectly. That's like a big thing.
Paulie in Goodfellas says, I don't know anything about the restaurant business. I know how to sit down and order the food and eat.
Yep.
That's pretty much what I know how to do.
Yeah, I agree. I can do that as well. I can put it away.
No, but seriously, it doesn't take a subject matter expert to tell the difference between things being done right, things being done wrong. It only takes observation.
That's exactly it. So I think that covers everything, at least that we have on our list here.
I think my closing marks are remarks, I guess is the right
closing
word.
Remarks. Yeah.
I'm a smart man.
Very smart.
The smartest.
Ahmed, your intelligence is just, it's off the hook today. Every day. It's really wonderful. But yes, your closing remarks.
Yeah, my closing marks are this. Go to fine dining restaurants. Just go out and support them and enjoy yourself. Should you go every day? Should you go every week? Even I don't know. Do whatever the heck you want in that sense. But like, if you're in a new town, if you're in a new city, if you're in a different country, or even just exploring the place where you live, because a lot of people don't even do that. Seek out something that is special, that is outside the norm, to celebrate something, to or just to take somebody out, to have a nice time.
Definitely.
Take yourself out to have a nice time. Don't be afraid to eat at a nice restaurant by yourself.
Don't be afraid to try new things either. I think that's a big thing as well. Honestly, variety is the spice of life. It really is. There are so many things that I didn't think I was going to like, or that, the mix of ingredients seemed really weird to me. And then, I'd be like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I'll try it.
Whiskey
it's
and
being
chocolate.
Yeah, whiskey and chocolate. Absolutely.
Chocolate and wine.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Having Brussels and bacon, to me that was a very weird pairing until I tried it, and it was just like, oh my goodness, that's out of this world. Like, why have I not had this before?
Mint sauce and lamb.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right? And they can seem weird until you try it, and then it's just like absolutely amazing. So, if you go to a restaurant and it's kind of like, all the things on this menu are kind of weird, it's okay. Chances are the stuff is really, really good. One restaurant I can think of, New World Bistro.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
really
goodness. Yeah. And they are so good at having like these outlandish, like you look at it and you look at the menu and it's like, what is all this stuff? And their brunch menu, by the way, out of this world.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to sample.
Yeah, we should definitely do that sometime. Oh man, it's just like absolutely incredible.
Another restaurant in Albany, by the way.
Albany, New York, not Georgia.
Albany, Oregon.
Yes, Albany, Minnesota.
Is there an Albany, Minnesota?
There's an Albany, Minnesota. There are like 11 Albanys in the United States.
It's
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to start an Albany somewhere.
New Mexico.
Yes, that'll be fun. Anyway, though, guys, I think we've rambled on enough here.
Our rambles.
Yes, our rambles for sure. My songs.
I know we'll play 1 million songs.
So, guys, if you like what you see here, tap the like button, and definitely that shows a sign of support for us. If you can make any suggestions, any topics you want to see us cover, put it in the comments section below. That would be really awesome. We always appreciate feedback.
Did we miss anything about this topic? Like, seriously.
Surely
let
there's
know.
something.
Yeah.
We did what? This is like a 30-minute brainstorm. I'm sure you guys can think of
something.
Something
what I want to
else.
hear from you guys, and then if you really
Definitely
talk about it, particularly, what are some things fine dining restaurants do that aren't good?
Yeah.
Like, what are some particular criticisms you have of fine dining establishments?
Absolutely.
That's something I think would be super fun to talk about.
And we'd also like to hear about some of your best fine dining experience. Go into detail. We're detail oriented here. We want to hear about all the little things that make a fine dining experience special for you guys.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And if you want to stay tuned to our channel and hear about more videos that we're putting out, hit the subscribe button and tap the bell. The bell is really like, that's the indicator saying, okay, here, we will update you every single time a new video is out. We'll let you know.
The actual subscribe button.
The actual subscribe button.
The literal.
Literally.
Theoretically.
No. Indubitably. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. And we'll hopefully we'll see you next time round, and hope you have a great one.